Okay, ready to go in 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, let's go Worldless. Let's go. We got this. Okay, so welcome to Worldless. As you can see, this is a 2D platformer in the vein of a Metroidvania created by the lovely No Name Studio and Coatsink, who are from Spain and are super lovely. Shout out to them and their community manager, Esther, who's very, very active with the community in the Worldless Discord. So, just give a quick background lore. We've basically just encountered a big bang of some description. And in that big bang, 2 different factions of beings have been created. The blue and white beings, like ourselves, and the orange and black beings that you can see sort of fighting them in the background. So we're playing, our character's name is Edda, and she's basically a shield maiden. She's really cool. Yeah, it would be super lovely if Esther could come on couch. I did, like, the last time we submitted, they did ask if there was anything they could do, and I just said if someone could come in if it gets accepted, that'd be super lovely. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. So this is the first fight. So this game has turn-based combat as its sort of fighting mechanics rather than like going along just kicking enemies' butts. So it's kind of cool. It's a bit unique. So we're just letting our counterpart over there, who's called Avon, kick our backside. And he's trying to fill that bar in the bottom left corner, which is our absorption bar. He's just tried to absorb us. This is kind of a scripted fight. You can't beat Avon, I don't think. So obviously he's just tried to absorb us and gain our power. And we kind of fused instead, and it's gone a bit crazy. This fusion sort of caused like another mini Big Bang to happen, and we're basically creating the game world because of what's happened to us, which is really cool. So here's our game world. As you can see, there's a few, like 6 different branches. They each all have their own color schemes, own themes, like sort of vibe, essentially. Like this game's very stylized. It's very beautiful. Like a lot of like thought went into the art direction, and it really shows. And it is absolutely stunning. So here we've encountered. This is a cutscene, and we're talking to one of the old ones who've been here since before the Big Bang that happened. And he's basically teaching us about how to interact with the world. He's a little bit jealous that we've done what we've done, and that the beings that sort of created the Big Bang have sort of took notice. But yeah, he's basically also just saying we're all silly, foolish young people and blah blah blah, doing your young people things kind of thing. But yeah, so basically, so this is now going to get our goal, which is we need to find Avon, our counterpart. So that's what we're going to do. We're going Avon hunting. You also might have noticed that the language is in Chinese, and I'm very clearly not speaking Chinese. This is because, like in a lot of games, Chinese and Japanese is a faster language, which is great for speedrunning, but not great if you don't really understand abilities and understand the language and you're trying to remember what abilities what. That I tend to do that because I'm a bit of an old person. My memory's not what it used to be. I've got the jump. So yeah. So this is the blue area. It's just the first sort of proper hub area. So this is the first sort of tutorial enemy, like the proper tutorial. So it's teaching us about physical guards. So as you can see, when it's attacking, I'm blocking essentially. So that's what Edda's defense ability is. She has shield. That's a great start. Lovely, lovely. So yeah, she has a shield that can block both physical and magical attacks. Each of the attacks is denoted by a type of line. So a horizontal line is a physical attack, and as we're about to see with the next enemy, a vertical line is a magical attack. So there is a lot going on in the battles. It's not just hack away. Also, there is a timing element to this game. It wants you to time your hit to get more absorption and damage out of it. So that spinny sort of spin slash I'm doing, I only get that if I time my hits right. Otherwise, it just gives you like a third, just sort of standard slash. So we want to be doing them as much as possible because they do extra absorption damage, which is what we want to basically capture the enemies and gain the skill points. So yeah, each of the enemies gives the skill points. There are obviously blue enemies and orange enemies. Each one corresponds to a specific coloured skill point on your ability tree. We're getting our very first ability now, which is the dash, which is really useful early on. So as you can see, it's vertical and horizontal movement. So essentially a kind of double jump, but not quite a double jump. But really, really useful for going over like hits and stuff. Okay, let's do this scary jump. Oh, that jump's so scary. I really hate that jump. So if you mess that jump up, it's very possible to just fall straight down right to the bottom again, and it's a heck of a climb back up. So obviously you don't want to do that. But it's a little bit quicker than going the regular route round using the glowy balls to open the platforms. So as you see, we're just going to dash along. Just trying to get through this section as much as possible. So as you can see, not all the enemies are fights. Some of them are just literally littered around the ground. And there is a little bit of a cooldown on the dash that you have to be aware of, because it can catch you out. So you notice I've just got a pickup of some description. So that is an extra, I think it's like a second of time in fights, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it basically makes every enemy in the game doable, at least in any percent. There's one or two that it's just too much for. Like there's a couple of enemies later on in 100% that require a good chunk of time to do what you need to do to capture them, essentially. But I don't want to spoil stuff without. I'll elaborate a bit more later when we've gotten a little bit more into the plot, essentially. So we're in the green area. I call this area Green Path. Okay, let's see how we do. Triangle. It's triangle. It's triangle. Oh, that's not great. Push the wrong button. So yeah, All the inputs in the game are random. There is nothing predetermined, which would obviously make my life a lot easier. So yeah, sometimes you just don't quite get it, unfortunately. It does happen. So yeah, the gimmick of this area obviously is you use keystones that make portals appear. And yeah, we're just going to try and skip as much of it as we can. So the game wants us to go up there, but we're not gonna. I need to test something after this. Okay, that was a good bit of traversal. So this enemy is the fire elemental, which, as its name suggests, uses fire magic. And he can be quite tricky. So when we didn't go up just a minute ago, we skipped an ability, which is ice. As you can see, this gentleman has an ice shield. Nice, got one round there. So yeah, skipping ice can be problematic, potentially. It is very much a potentially. But again, that's sort of something I'll get to a little bit later. So just taking a little skip there, not waiting around for the portals, taking us around the long way. Nice, okay. So yeah. There are a couple of enemies that have the ice shield. Like I said, one of them is exceptionally problematic. But potentially not. So got our second movement ability, which is the sprint, which, as the name suggests, is really, really fast. It is Edda's fastest form of movement and allows her to go over water. So Edda's kind of allergic to water and she doesn't like going in it. So this allows us to traverse any areas that have water, essentially. So again, we're just sort of chasing our friend, or well, our counterpart, should we say. And there's one last fight in this area that is technically a cutscene fight, but there is a way to make it trigger a little bit faster. Okay, looks like I got it. So this, we used to have to wait an extra round on this until we figured out how to make this bit of the cutscene trigger faster. So that saves us like 10 to 12 seconds, which is quite a lot. I think it's more like 10, but yeah. There we go. Okay, capture our friend. So we're just going to run straight through now. So the whole map is actually interconnected. So you can get to many different areas through like this area, the brown area, the tower. It is connected to pretty much most of the areas. But it's the way it's connected is not viable for an any percent run. But it's a real pity because it is like the coolest area in the game. I've got my dash charge, that's fine. It's got some of the best enemies and the coolest power-ups. There we go, lovely, that's a great start. Did we get it? Nice. Got a 1 round. That's brilliant. That enemy is very, very difficult to get on that particular round. The windy shield he put up against himself not only does physical damage, but if it hits you, it reduces the absorption meter like massively. So you really have to time the hit. So I was also doing slightly speedrunny tech. So I can't remember who exactly it was in the community who found it, but you can basically animation cancel your magic so you can spam it really quickly. Which in that fight's really useful because that enemy is weak to thunder, which is Edda's main element. So you can just spam the thunder and get his absorption up really, really quickly. So of course up to Avon. So there's 2 ways to do this fight. We can do aggression or pacifist. Now aggression is a lot slower, so we're going to take the pacifist route. But if you do go with the aggressive route, this cutscene's actually a little bit different. So if you take out Avon, Edda actually tries to hit him with his sword and kill him. So Edda's now disappeared, and we have control of our second protagonist. I mean, I kind of feel like it was obvious, but at the same time, it wasn't. So yeah, Avon's the second protagonist and the secondary protagonist in this game. Well, actually, dual main protagonist. And he's the reason we haven't used any of our ability points yet. We are going to pimp him out very shortly because he's the best fighter. So the game sort of expects you to have certain abilities at this point, like ice and Edda's second weapon, which is a bow. So it gives you Avon's counterpart, which is super, super useful, especially in regards to his equivalent to the bow, which is the whip, which is ridiculously powerful and does massive absorption damage, as does his whip technique, which makes fights a lot easier. We're also getting a couple other things. So the orange ability I got below these blue ones is called Deflect, and it allows you to deflect absorption damage back at enemies on your defensive turn, which is really useful. I was pushing the buttons and it did not work. Oh well, is what it is. And there's his whip. So yeah, there we go. Not the best, but it's fine, it'll do. Okay, so course up to Edda. That was a very solid section. So now we are meeting up with Edda. Another little cutscene happens. So we've sort of accepted what happened to us on our joining in camaraderie, essentially. So that's allowed us to sort of transcend a bit further, which is therefore making the map expand a bit further. So it's now unlocking the transcended bosses, which are denoted by green orbs, which you'll see glowing and blinking in a minute. There's 3 of them. These are the sort of final-ish antagonists. So these are who we've got to go beat to finish the game, essentially. So now we've got control of both characters, which allows some very nice movement. Cool. There you can see Deflect in action. There we go. That should be a full bar. Yep. So if you manage to get the bar completely full, it will just automatically absorb without any inputs needed, which is really useful. But there's only a small handful of enemies you can actually do it on in any percent, with the being fast kind of thing. Oops. little bit of a not jump there. That's not great. Okay, so we're going to go beat the first transcended boss. So it used to be that we do this boss second, not first. The reason for that is, I mean, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I kind of figured out a way to make the second boss that we go to considerably faster, but also considerably more risky. So it's one of them, a kind of risk-reward kind of thing. So we're going to go up and fight Bipolar, who's also known as Duality. He's a tricky boss because he has two different distinct forms. He has a dark form and a light form. Like ourselves and Avon sort of combining. All the transcended bosses have a dark and a light side. So they are very like us. Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was doing. Not good. And Bipolar is by far the least pain one to deal with first. Can I start? Okay, that's our holy bat. Okay, lovely. Great fight. Also, the game kind of wants you to go a slightly different path up to this boss, but we're kind of taking the back door in. Unfortunately, in the most recent patches of this game, this sort of backdoor has been patched out, which is kind of sad. But obviously, there is a sort of beta version that Coatsink have very kindly left on Steam for speedrun purposes. So that's super duper awesome. So I'm just going to quickly give Eva some power-ups, just because it makes parts of the fight a little bit quicker and gives me potential to break some shields a bit easier. Okay, so this is Bipolar. So unfortunately, he's given us the ice shield, which isn't ideal, but it's not detrimental. Gonna risk it. Okay. Oh my god. What a Bipolar. Gold split, let's go. So the absorption things on the green bosses is huge. You've got to have a massive amount to see any input. And I just got exceptionally lucky. I am not even denying that I just got really lucky. So that was really good. Okay, time for the worst boss in the game. So the next boss is Adaptation. And the easiest way I can describe him is that he is the Fantoon of this game. So anyone who knows like speedrunning in general is a fan, or even has played Super Metroid, Fantoon is a massive pain in the backside. He's RNG personified, and Adaptation is very much in the same vein. So I said earlier that we skipped the ice ability. This is where it really comes into play potentially. Adaptation opens up with 2 different elemental shields and a physical shield, and the elemental shields are completely random, and they can be ice. So if we hit an ice, it's an instant time loss. If we don't hit ice, it's really lovely. Get down there, even. So yeah, it is very much RNG personified. So hopefully he'll play nice. But before that, we've got to go get one last ability. Movement ability for Avon. Which is Snatch. Which I also call Eagle Shot because I'm a bit of a nerd. So the little orange dots that we've seen around, this is what uses them. So as you can see, it's very similar to Bash from Ori or Eagle Shot from Guacamelee 2. Sort of just fires you up in the air and oh, got that. So yeah, it makes the traverse of the green area we're in before a little bit quicker, but it's not really huge. Okay. I'm just going to focus for a second because I tend to have some dash issues on this because it always seems to go wrong for me. There we go, fine. Okay, so last bit of shopping. We're going to get our special ability that deals with Adaptation, which is called Unified Division. And it's basically a big sword that breaks shields, but it doesn't fully break them, so you need to do a little bit of damage. And that is beautiful. Okay, we're fine. Okay, please work. Okay, this is where it's going to get dicey. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Actually, I'm going to do something very quick. I'm going to have to get this ability anyway, so I'm just going to do it now. Okay. So, like I said, Ed is allergic to water. There are a few places we can exploit that, and that's one of them. It just spawns you on the land to the right rather than sending you miles back to the left, which would normally what it would be doing. Okay, so we're doing good. We're going into the final area, the storm grey area. So here's hoping we can have a good grey area. So the ability I just got is called Assist, and it basically allows your partner to come in and do a little bit of damage once a turn, which is especially useful on this fight. Nice, very nice. So now we're coming to my favourite fight in the game. This is Halo, and this is the skill check of this game. So this is the have you been paying attention? That's really good. That's really good. It's an excellent phase one. Yeah, not be stupid. Whew. Okay, we got it next turn. Okay, and we got it. Nice, that's a really good Halo. That was a really, really good Halo. So, casually, that is very much a skill check for players, because you can actually access it as soon as you get sprint. And you might not be expecting a multi-phase fight. And it is a very tricky fight. Once you learn his attack, it's not too bad. But yeah. Also, I've just done the only sort of known glitch in the game, which is the Dark Grotto glitch. Basically, this area is meant to be completely shrouded in darkness. Okay. But yeah, by doing that, you skip the darkness trigger. That was a fail. So I'm a little bit lower than I would like to be here. That's fine. Get it next turn. That's fine. Okay. Okay, that's fine. A little bit slower than I would have liked, but not the worst. Okay. Cool. So we're just sort of running up this area, getting to the last boss, which is called Yin Yang. Knew I hadn't made it. That jump is pretty tricky. Anyway, I made it again. Oh my god, why am I doing this fail on this now? That looked better. Right, fine, we're just going the normal way. Wow, I haven't failed that badly in a while. Oh well, is what it is. Okay, so just doing a last little bit of shopping. So to take on yin yang, we need a specific setup, as you've probably guessed by now. Get that as a backup. So both of them need to have 2 chargeable techniques. And we both have to have our ability to sort of deflect stuff. So both Edda and Avon have an ability to deflect. Okay, so Edda has got hers. Okay. Cool, we good. Fine. All right, that's really, really good. Wait. Wait, oh my god, this actually beats my PB. Oh my god. Like, this is the new route PB. That doesn't actually match my old route PB. This actually beats it. This is a 43. I haven't got a 43 yet. I mean, it might still be third place, but I'm going to take it. So, for some reason, Edda doesn't have her sprint in this area. So we're just going to use Avon to go quickly. As fast as we can with double jump, because it's faster than walking. So this is the final encounter. So it's technically a boss, but not technically a boss. You literally can't do anything to hurt it. You've just got to sort of let the cutscene play out. So yeah. So unless someone has any objections, I'm going to for Shiny Avon. So all you can do to interact with it basically is talk to it. As you can see, its absorption bar is infinite. Therefore, you can do nothing to get it. Unless it wants you to. There is literally no point, and fighting slows down this cutscene. Especially in a little bit. But you'll see that in a minute. I did text you, I did tell you. It was worth it. That's a proper PB as well. That beats my old best time, like on my other route. It still might be fair, but I'm not 100%. Either way, it's a lot closer than it was. So yeah, there's literally nothing you can do on this part of the fight. So yeah, if you try and fight when those like bits of the map are being destroyed, you use an ability that was in those sections. You basically do a stun animation and it just slows the whole thing down. Okay, so poor Edda's been speared. Poor Edda. So basically, that boss is called the Worldless. He's basically given us the power to create our own universe, which is now seen in our beautiful sparkly form, because we love sparkly forms. I think you might have to, Magma, yeah. I'm catching you up. And there was some definite mistakes in that one. I am very happy with that. Like, you can't complain. PB on the new route version beats my old route by 30 seconds. Maybe 32. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a really, really solid time. I'm super happy with that.